All right, guys and gals, it's about that time of day again here, folks. Newsletter time. My name is Joseph James with your nightly newsletter for, is it Tuesday, the 14th of October? Wow, oh wow, 14th day of the 10th month of the year 2014. Hope you guys had a great Columbus Day weekend. What a strange holiday, right? Half the folks are in school, half the folks aren't. Some banks are closed, some banks are open. Some of the markets were open. I think they wished the markets were closed yesterday for the most part. Bottom line, a lot of stuff to talk about today in our nightly newsletter. Before we jump into our newsletter here for the 14th day of October, I want to remind you guys to make sure you're watching this video right now on our blog over here at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're not watching it on the blog right now, there's a link below the video. If you're watching this on our YouTube page, make sure you get over to the blog here at Sideways Markets for 3 reasons. Reason number 1, make sure you download today's charts. You can download all the charts we're going to use each day right below the video here. Click that link right below. Upper left-hand corner, I got a free pass for you guys to come out and join me in my live trade room this week. Right? Take me up on that offer, guys. You're going to learn more in a few hours with me in that trade room than you will all week in a paid trade room. Got a free pass for you guys to come attend our live trade room. And then lower left-hand corner, I have my nightly newsletter mailing list, as you can see here. Give me your name and your email address, and I'll send you the newsletter every evening when it's published. If you register for our free pass, or if you register for our newsletter, make sure you check your email. I'm going to send you a verification email to make sure you're on a robot. All right, guys, so download today's charts below the video, grab a copy of your free pass, register for your nightly newsletter mailing list, and don't forget to confirm your email address there. Check your email. I'm going to send you a verification email. Let's jump right in here this afternoon, starting here first with the Mini Russell. Mini Russell, you can see here, is currently in a downtrend right now. Now, of course, Russell, among all the other E-minis, really trying to catch their breath right now after the past few weeks of this relatively steep sell-off here. You can see we still got room to push lower here. We get that target down around this, just above this 1,000 level, right? So we got 1007.5. So we still got some room to go here for our extension target down here. Clearly bearish in the long term. We can see, though, we got plenty of room, though, here for price to retrace, right, before we start making that next leg down. So we might be patient a little bit here before we get those next sells. Next sell zone overhead on this 64 anchor is going to give it 1098.1. You can easily see we're in a downtrend right now in the Russell. With that downtrend on the Russell, my next stop here will be to my 32. Looking at the 32, this will give us some better selling opportunities here on the Russell. Now, a couple things in this chart. First of all, we can see our trend is down. That's very clear, right? We got lower lows, lower highs, right? We got red moving average clouds. We're looking pretty easy to see we're bearish. So that tells me I want to be a seller here on the Russell. Where am I going to be a seller at? Well, at the top of this channel, that'll be a good setup, right? Channel setup. I've got trigger zone setup, trigger zone setups pretty much across the board here as we go higher. So I'm looking to sell the high of this channel. We're looking for another sell here between the 68.9 and the 76.5. I've got 79.8 for a sell, 87.4. So we're definitely looking good here for some shorts on this Russell. And if you look down at the bottom, I also added some volume down here, and just kind of glancing at this volume, lining up just a little bit of volume analysis here. And you can see we got volume definitely not confirming a higher move here right now. So if anything, we're range bound right now in the short term on the Russell, but I can definitely see here right now, though, that if the volume says enough, probably not going to go too much higher here. Definitely looking forward to selling short at the top of this range here, 68.9, 76.5, 79.8. And then as I go faster time frame here on the Russell to my 16, I can see even more pronounced. You can see we have, again, got a pretty good run off these lows right now, but it looks like that's going to be your range right there. Initially, I was thinking we have an ascending triangle, right? That was my initial thought, but then I compared the volume and said, no way, this is not looking very bullish here just yet. So we're definitely not on the bullish side here right now, even though in the short term we are going higher. I'll be looking for selling opportunities here up at these levels overhead. I got 69.7, 77.1. We've got an 80.4, 82.1. I got 87.7 and 94. So a little bit of patience here. We made a killing off that short this morning on the Russell, selling the highs there. That was almost too easy. it was a couple $1,000 in our account. Just simply knowing that we want to stay bearish. We're clearly in a long-term downtrend. Now what we're going to do is just keep looking out for those selling opportunities at these sell zones overhead. Most important thing right now in the Russell is just stay patient. You can see we're heading towards these highs right now. Definitely not too interested in being a buyer. I'm going to stay focused on sticking to the sell side, and we'll continue here to sell these highs as we go lower. Don't forget, I run a live trade room every day, and you guys can come in and join me tomorrow, and I'll give you guys those real-time trade calls so you know how we're going to be trading that here on the Russell for tomorrow. So staying short on the Russell. Next up here, move from the mighty Russell to this funny yellow metal. Boy, this yellow metal, it sure has got a boost over the past few days, or past few weeks, I guess we would say. We saw this gold market tumble all the way down below 1,200, and just like I was expecting, that 1,200, we didn't stay below that very long. Now we're starting to get some big concerns that central bankers are going to keep tinkering with their monetary policies. We know the ECB, we know China, we know here in the U.S. we're fine right now, but who knows for the future. So a lot of speculators right now thinking that these central bankers are going to keep playing Geppetto, right? He was that was Pinocchio's creator, right? So the puppet master, these central bankers, yeah, they start printing some more money. This gold could easily go right back to 1,300 again. And I'm looking at some symmetry here on this gold chart around 1293. So that's pretty convenient. Get it all the way up here. I am definitely a bull right now on gold and how quickly we can change, right? We went from literally nobody could stop that tumble on gold to now it's pretty obvious here. The only reason why we're not going higher right now is we haven't been able to get above this 1238.9. So we got gold. What's my trend? Very clear downtrend on gold right now. I've got lower lows, lower highs, but there is a lot of room. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing a possible kind of a little bit of a vacuum here above that 1238.9 up to that 66. And, you know, my gut tells me we could be right back at the 1300 here by the time we finish the year here this year. So difficult to tell where we go in the short term, but right now I'm definitely leaning towards the buy side here, just fundamentals lining up. All the fear entering the market right now, it could, whether it's Ebola or whether it's, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's a lot of fear out there in these markets right now that's clearly not letting this gold continue in its downtrend. Now, as we go forward here, though, you're going to see how this doesn't exactly look as bullish, right, as I would hope it does right now. In fact, we talked about this last week, that key resistance level. This is going to be part of the charts you can download for today. Remember, we talked about this trend life cycle and the fact that gold had been going lower over the past few weeks, past few months. And then we finally broke above this 1223.9, and now we finally have stayed above it, right? Remember last week how we talked about that trend life cycle, right? How we go lower, and then once we get above that key level of resistance, which I marked up, if we can stay above it, that's going to be the key. What we were worried about was we were worried about it collapsing back down, right? Hence that monster trade we called on the Russell last week, right? Remember that Russell trade last week? That was last Friday, right? Remember that huge move off that high off the Russell? Yeah, that was pretty much using the same technique here we're talking about right now. So Russell went up last week and then collapsed back down in, right? Remember that last Friday? Yeah, that was easy money, wasn't it? Well, you can see this one went up and we're staying above it. So very, very bullish in my opinion. But again, we really don't have a lot of momentum here going higher. You can see these kind of triple top right here. And if we go to the next chart, you're going to see me compare some volume on this on the next chart, and you'll see exactly the same type of clues we saw in the Russell. So right now in the 32, we can see, yeah, we're definitely bullish. We got higher highs, we got higher lows, we got green clouds. We're above the key level of resistance here that we talked about last week. As long as we stay above that 23.9, I don't see any reason why we should be bearish right now at all in this gold. So I'm looking for buys here right now, 28.1, 25.6, 23.9 would be a very tasty area to buy here right now. Heck, I could even look to buy this 1222, 1217 area here, but I'll tell you right now, get below this 1217.6 and now we're starting to get a little bit ugly here, right, to the downside. So I would say right now my line in the sand is at 1217.6. Keep me above that area, and I'm bullish. And you can see I've given you guys 1, 2, and 3 areas here to be a buyer. 28.1, 25.6, 23.9, 17.9, 22.1, and then again, if we get below 17s here, and I'm looking for a parachute because it's going to be dropping here, most likely right where it came from. I don't think that's going to happen, but we shall see. We shall see. So I'm a buyer right now on gold. I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. But at the same time, though, you can see on this chart, we analyze some volume here, and we can see, much like the Russell, I just don't think these buyers have much gas in the tank right now. Right? It doesn't feel like they're that interested in this price going higher. So we appear to be a bit of a waiting pattern here right now on this gold. As you can see, if I line up the highs here and we look at the volume on this stuff, you can easily see, right, the volume here going higher, but really, really marginal here, right? Not a lot, right? Not a lot of a push there. So it's a little bit disappointing, right? Well, maybe not disappointing. Volume is lower at these new highs, so we want to stay patient right now, but we're still bullish right now in this yellow metal. Basically what this tells me is it basically tells me here we might be getting a range that looks like this here tomorrow. We've really had a sluggish personality the last few weeks here on this gold to try to push higher. So the lack of volume at the highs, I get this buy zone down at the lows. I'm going to keep looking to buy these areas here, but again, there's that line in the sand there, 1217.6. So I'm sticking to the buy side right now on gold, but as far as long-term targets go, I don't see much more than just taking our profit at that high. So I'm going to use that high as my profit target right now, 38.6. I'll probably take it to 37 or so, right, and take that profit off at that high. Whereas normally I would have a runner target on here, right? We try to hold that runner a little bit higher here, but volume just confirms for us we're not as bullish as we appear to be. It's more like we're just not bearish right now, right? Where nobody's selling here on gold. Gold is definitely being held up, right, by that fear factor in the markets right now. Moving forward here, last but not least, down on my crude oil here. On my crude, boy, look at this chart. Wow. Now, we knew that crude was in a downtrend. All right, kept telling you guys here to keep selling those highs on crude, right, until this chart tells me differently. I don't care what they say in the Middle East. I don't care what they're saying on the newspapers. I don't care what your buddy next door is saying. The charts told me for the past, basically for the past 3-4 months here, we've made enough on this short on crude in the past 6 months to cover our whole entire year. So it's been a great short off these highs. And if you remember, we talked about this, boy, ever since we got back to that 100. Remember this? Remember we went lower. We thought this could be the move back higher again, but it collapsed. That was what sparked this big sell-off. And then it was classic here, watching crude try to go higher here and then smacking it right back down. Late last week, I'll tell you guys, was fun. It was fun trading the past few weeks here, watching it grind its way higher and then just getting smacked right back down. So same thing has been the case in the Russell as well. On this crude, clearly we got a downtrend right now. We're below the January 9th lows here. So I was thinking we wouldn't get to this January 9th low until January 9, 2015. In fact, I got a lot of emails over the weekend from folks who watched my newsletter earlier on this year and heard me call that low at the 85s here, and just thinking it was almost impossible to get back to 85s. But here we are. It just goes to show you never know why, right? We try not to worry about the why so much. All we worry about is what do we see on our charts, follow that trend, we give the benefit of the doubt to that long-term trend. So we got a ton of room here, right, to move higher before we start getting in those long-term sell zones again. So big push down. You got to imagine tomorrow you're probably going to get a nice short covering rally on this. And, of course, that puts us right up here. Now move to our 32 anchor. We can see crude oil obviously collapsed today. We started the session here on crude, right, in this kind of narrow range here. We were trying to sell these highs this morning on crude, and that's what our goal was. We never quite got up there though, and then of course the collapse happened, and it was just wave patterns below that 83.59. Now we've made this low. If you missed the big drop off the high, right? We took the short off the Russell, but couldn't quite get the crude to get up to those highs for us. Took the short at the highs today for us. So now we're going to have to wait patiently here right now, get this price off these lows, so we can then get back to selling it again. This is a classic scenario where, you could be aggressive and buy this crude right now. You get a target up there at 83.59, right? That's pretty easy to see. That target would be there for you, 83.59, 83.81. So I would assume, there'll be some buyers. If anything else, just people getting out of their shorts, right? Basically covering their shorts here. You'll have some bargain hunters down here. Remember, big drops usually equal big pops, so we'll probably see some rallying here overnight, but that'll put us right into the position here, looking for another short here tomorrow. So stay patient right now on crude right now. This big drop may equal a big pop, so we're going to stay patient. Now, if you want to get long here right now, you got some short-term targets here, 82.58. And then again, my target here for you buyers will be up around this 83.59. If you're going to buy this crude right now, though, be careful. You got this trend line coming down, so I would definitely be using that trend line as my target, depending on where it lines up here. Right? You may not need it, but definitely 83.59 is going to be your target for buyers, and I want to make sure I use that trend line if we happen to kind of struggle a little bit here to get up there, right? So you want to use that as your target. So we're looking again, we're obviously bearish right now on crude, no doubt about that. This big drop here today makes it difficult for me to get short right now. So again, big drops, big pops. We would expect some bargain hunting. We would expect a short covering rally here. So again, I could easily see us buying right now. I've got targets overhead at 82.58, 82.84. That would also be, guys, your earliest opportunity here to get back to selling. So I've got selling opportunities here, 82.58, if I can talk here today, 82.84, 83.59, right? I got 83.81, 84.39. So you can see we got some waiting to do here on crude. That is the tough part about having this big drop here, right? In the short term, is that now we're going to have to wait for it to come back. Now, obviously, we're profiting on the way lower with our short positions. But if you missed that short, which I gave you guys last week on the newsletter, if you missed those selling opportunities I gave you last Thursday into Friday, now we got to wait patiently for another round of selling opportunities here going into tomorrow's session. All right, guys, so be aware of this. And remember, I'm going to be giving you guys real-time updates on this stuff, guys, for crude, gold, and Russell tomorrow morning in our trade room. Let's wrap up here by looking at our news for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, October 15th. We got Wednesday, October 15th. I've got news tonight here starting out of China. I've got news out of China tonight at 9:30, right? So big news out of China here tonight at 9:30. That should get you Asian session traders moving this afternoon and this evening. And then, of course, going into London tomorrow morning, we got 4:30 a.m. We get the labor market report. I've got GDP out of our good friends in Italy. And then we jump into the U.S. session, 8:30 PPI, 8:30 retail sales, 8:30 Empire State. And then we jump down to business inventories at 10 o'clock and beige book at 2 p.m. So looking at news here for tomorrow, we don't need to wait for tomorrow. We've got major news out of China here coming in at 9:30 p.m. tonight. That will have markets moving. Definitely will have markets moving here, especially markets, right, such as gold and other currencies. We look at the London session tomorrow morning. We got 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m., right? I got Great Britain and our good friends in Italy. I got some news out of Germany at 2 a.m., but we'll be focused on that 4:30 and 5 p.m. news here out of Germany. Out of Great Britain and Italy. We've got 8:30 PPI in the U.S., 8:30 retail sales, 8:30 Empire State Manufacturing. I would imagine tomorrow morning's our meat and potatoes tomorrow are probably going to be around 8:30 in the morning, right? They'll probably be pretty early in the morning tomorrow, especially since we got that move coming out of Europe as well. So be on the lookout tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, right? We'll be in our trade room watching that news come out. There's a lot of Red Star news there. And then as we wrap things up here, we got 10 o'clock business inventories. So we got 8:30 news tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock news tomorrow morning. And then don't forget, with that beige book tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., we'll probably see prices start to slow down, see price action start slowing down. Remember, whenever you get a news report in the afternoon, we know that the lunchtime session will typically settle in here a little bit earlier than normal. So be on the lookout for an early lunchtime tomorrow and then an early afternoon session, and we'll look for that reaction to the beige book tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Just a quick heads up, guys. If you count the weeks here, we are in the third week of the month of October. First week, second week, third week. So we've got OpX on Friday. There's a link below the video tonight if you want to learn more about how to trade OpX Friday, right? So click on that link below the video and you can read all about how we're going to trade options expiration. So be aware on that. Be aware on that. Also, heads up, probably not going to get it this week, but first and next week will be rollover on crude oil. But that's all we got to pretty much worry about right now, guys. All right, so news tonight from Asia, news tomorrow from London. Lots of news in the calendar tomorrow. And don't forget, come out and see me anytime here, morning, noon, or night, over here at SchoolOfTrade.com. We offer a free trial here at SchoolOfTrade.com. You can always check out the free trial. In that free trial is an invite for you to come out and join our live trade room any day this week in the afternoon. We have 3 levels of membership, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and we always have someone standing by to help you guys out with online support. Don't forget to keep in touch, guys. Come out and see me tomorrow morning in my live trade room. We'll keep looking for those buying opportunities on gold and selling opportunities on the Russell and crude. Make sure you guys learn it so you can earn it. We'll see you guys tomorrow in the trade room. 8 a.m. Eastern time, we open up and kickstart the session. And, of course, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see you guys back here 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night for our nightly newsletter for Wednesday evening. Thanks for subscribing to the newsletter mailing list. Thank you so much for sharing this information with a friend. And don't forget to come out and see us tomorrow in the trade room. My name is Joseph. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.